Hello, my beautiful Taurus. So the first thing that I see, of course, is um, the Minotaur. And I started questioning myself about, oh, by the way, this is for the week of the 19th. I started questioning myself about this, why the Minotaur and what was the power of the bull. And I looked it up and I realized that what I was feeling as I started this before I saw the Minotaur was that it was time to raise Taurus up, that it was time for Taurus to really start thinking of themselves as divine creatures. In astrology, we typically look at, or I should say they, because I'm not an astrologer, but astrology starts to look at the signs as progressively evolved, starting with Aries and then moving through. And of course, Taurus comes second. But what I'm being told is that the power of the bull, not the cow, the bull, because we are not cows, we are bulls, is linked to great power, to the beginning of the world, to creation itself. And that the representation of the bull as linked to certain deities really deals with the ability to create something cosmic on a material plane, that without the strength and the power of the Taurus, the other signs don't evolve. So while it is sometimes seen as something that is just worker oriented, what we have to really remember and honor for ourselves is the fact that there is great power in the strength of the bull. There is great power and in the consistency, the fortitude, the ability to keep going and moving. It's linked to fertility. Therefore, it is directly linked to the creation of life, even at the most fundamental level. So what you're being told here, Taurus, is, the other thing that came to me as I was starting this is cycles. Taurus, you're not just in a straight line. You live in cycles. You're very, very linked to the seasons. You're very linked to Earth, partially because you allow things to develop. That is one of your gifts and one of your skills. You don't generally rush ahead to do things. You're able to stick with something long enough to see it through and to see it change if it needs to change. That is something else that you can do. People tend to think of Taurus as being a stubborn sign, but I see Taurus less as a stubborn sign and more as a determined sign. And because there is that ability to play the long game, Taurus is able to take what is now and take a plan and not just see it through, but it's got the flexibility to change it if it needs to. Taurus is not rigid. Taurus is, I'm going to say structured, but structured in a way that allows for things to change, which is incredibly powerful. Because it also, on a cosmic sense, allows for the ability to transmute. Now, I'm being reminded of something here, and that is that the earth sign, the earth element, certainly within the Ayurvedic system, which is linked to the root chakra, is the chakra that also supports the ego. Now, what do we know about the ego? It's crucially important to have a strong ego in order to be able to interface with the world with confidence, in order to build, in order to create, in order to offer. The ego itself, in and of itself, is not a bad thing. It's a magnificent thing. It is the foundation on which we are able to build ourselves, our identity, our place in the world, our social standing. When the ego is strong enough, that's when the person is able to actually expand into higher consciousness, because there is enough of a sense of where they are, who they are, placed on earth, that they are able to let go and explore other dimensions because they know they're solidly based here. Now, something I was hearing earlier, okay, it says I was walking there. Yes, it was the fact that it's crucially important at this time for those light workers who are doing the work to move towards higher consciousness in a way that supports a positive change in the world, for them, thank you, for them to be anchored in humanity. It's tempting in many ways for a lot of people who are doing the spiritual work to almost take refuge in the dimensions beyond this table and chair reality where all the problems seem to exist. But it's essential that those light workers also maintain connection within humanity, within society, with the earth. It does not mean that they won't have still that expanded vision and insight. It literally means that they get to be channels for it within the community and express it and experience it and bring that frequency and vibration and wisdom. Taurus, what you're being suggested is to pay attention to what you've already built. This is very clear. Pay attention to what you've already built because I get it now. Yes, pay attention to what you've already built because you can build on it. So that goes along with the initial impression I was getting of not rigid, but structured and measured in a way where things can change. You've already built some great things for whoever I'm reading for in the collective. You've already built some things very solidly, very clearly, and you've received positive feedback for it. Now what you're being told is risk taking a chance on growing in another direction, building on what you've already built. So what that would potentially mean is take the skill set that you've got, take the business structure that you've got, take a model of how you want to live. Those are all suggestions. And build on what those things offer you. But how do you know where to go? Okay, the way you know how to go is, again, anchor into that understanding of who you are. Take stock because you very often don't take stock of what you've done. You're looking where you can go, but you forget to take stock of what is already in your treasure chest because sometimes you underplay it. So really honestly stand back and let yourself look at what you've done, what you're proud of. And again, not just like, but what you know is solid, what you know is good, what is valued by other people, perhaps more than you've understood it's being valued or more than you valued it yourself because it's just so natural and familiar to you. Pay attention to that. And instead of feeling bad for what you haven't done already or for maybe thinking that it wasn't as successful as it could have been or should have been, instead really check in with that. Let yourself honestly from your heart say what you feel about what you've done. Get in touch with that. Let yourself reflect on it in a way where you get to feel it and identify it as what the value is. How does it make you feel to do it? And if you could imagine changing that, what would you like it to be? You've got the creativity card here. You have got the capability, obviously, to do great things. And you are. I mean, I know one astrologer who refers to Taurus as a master builder, but you're not just a master builder. There you go. Pleasure and creativity right there. You're not just a master builder. You are a creative expert because when you manifest, what is that? That's creativity in its purest form. So you're being asked, realize the kind of power that you've got. And you get that power not just from force. It's not from brute force, the way Taurus is often thought of. It is really by connecting to that inner divine part of you that really is about the seed of creation, of the basket of consciousness, and really let yourself look at where you are in the grand scheme of conscious evolution because you play a vital role in it. Look at all the divine symbols of bulls. Just check it out. Check it out, worship of bulls in cultures, and you're going to see from the very, very beginning, it stood as a very strong symbol. Please look at where you have overworked and thought that you had to work hard in order to succeed or in order to produce, because the reality is the more pleasure you have in what you do, the more productive you're going to be. And what you're being told here is that is where your power lies. Your power to create, to succeed. It's by being honest about what you feel, about what you like, about what brings you pleasure, and then stand for yourself. Stand for yourself and notice what holds you back. You've also got grief here, but I want to say something important about grief. Grief is often, I think it's falling in here, not because I think grief is holding you back, but because grief is a powerful emotion that opens our heart. And what is said about grief in the polarity model that I was taught was that grief is the most powerful emotion because it resonates with the first loss, which is the loss of separation from source or divine source. But of course, that's an illusion because we are never separated from it because we are of it. So again, this for me is talking to you about Taurus. Recognize your divine heritage. Recognize where the cosmos is working through your particular kind of energy. And notice where now you get to elevate this to another level through pleasure. Through building on what you've already created, on the strengths that you already have, the imagination, the visions that you've got. You could have a million ideas and never move on them. Start writing them down. Bring them into something concrete, even if it just starts as a word on a page. Start making a list. Start realizing how fertile your brain is and how connected you are to that cosmic energy. Okay, Taurus, I'm going to leave you with that, but this is a beautiful, beautiful reading, and I really support you in moving forward with this and really take delight and honor yourself and honor your creativity and honor what you've already done, but please pay attention and honor what you're capable of doing in the future with pleasure. Okay, Taurus, take care.